is going to be being paranoid about it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me know when you switch it.
It's switched.
It's switched already.
Mm-hmm.
We're good?
Yep.
All right. So, welcome to Contra Gentile Season 4, Episode 19. 19? 19.
Yeah.
Is what I told you.
That's what I titled it.
That's what that's what I told you. Anyway. What you doing? Oh.
So I know.
Yeah, these what are these called? Pop filter? Windscreen?
Yeah.
I think because the puffiness is fatter, it holds heat.
Oh, okay.
And my mouth is getting really hot. That's weird. Like,
yeah.
I can suck hot air out of it if I breathe. Like well insulated. Anyway. So tomorrow's Palm. What is Palm Sunday? What is the significance of that? Why is it called that?
It's that part of the Bible where they put down he was riding a donkey.
Oh, yeah. That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
My Bible story brain was going.
Your Protestant brain is already leaving.
It's true. What was so funny was during the class last week.
Yeah.
I don't remember at all what they were talking about specifically, but like Deacon Mark was like trying to think about something from the Bible. I was like, oh, I wish Jeremy was here, and I'm like, he would not know. He would definitely not know.
Yeah.
What obscure Bible thing you're trying to remember? Yeah, I didn't hit record over here, but that's fine. Stream got it.
You want to do the welcome again?
No, it's fine. Okay. It's fine. People know that I already did it on the stream.
Okay, yes.
I haven't done that in a while. I feel like no matter how smooth it is, I always do something to fuck up the process.
Or something just fucks up.
Some technical thing.
Yeah.
It's weird because we haven't changed anything in so long.
No, except for that new thing.
Yeah, but that was like once.
Yes.
I'll take that tonight, and I can put it up for...
Oh, okay, yeah. To see what we get for it,
Yeah. But anyway.
That would be good.
Yeah. You sound less sick now.
Oh, that's good. Probably because I ate.
Yeah.
I think I was tired, exhausted.
Yeah, because you sounded horrible. No, what was that? The Suma episode we did?
Oh, yeah.
You sounded horrific the whole time.
What, was I sick there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Well, that was the first Sumo. We did 2, right?
I thought we did more than 2, but yeah,
we
did at least did 2, but...
It's so funny because somebody mentioned it to me. They were like, "You guys did that like twice."
Yes.
And then never did it again.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like
a compliment or not.
No, it definitely wasn't a compliment. But it was from a friend, but they were just like confused why we didn't keep doing it. I don't know if I was that the beginning of my weird mental fog era that
it could have been. I don't really remember.
It coincided badly.
Yeah, I know one aspect of it was just that it was it just turned into like a reading session, almost like reading and commentary.
Yeah,
and I think in the end we probably thought it was a bit not what we do.
Because what I want to do is like argue about something and also say like shit, piss, dick, jizz.
Yes,
cunt.
yeah. And if you're just doing like a read through, it's fine. I mean, it's very educational, but I think at the same time, it really wasn't our shtick.
Ain't nobody coming to God if we're
Yes.
Reading.
Yes, yeah. They could do it on themselves, on their own. But I'm sure, like, our commentary, some people found pretty helpful. But
yeah, but I think that was a swing and a miss.
Yes. I think that if we were to do that, it would have to be, like, not reading anything on air, but just commenting on what it says. The issue with that is the amount of time that needs for preparation will be kind of...
intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
No, not for us, the Summa.
No, I work and have a family.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know when I would find
You're
the time.
not in grad school anymore.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So, yeah. But I think we always bring it up anyways, and so.
Yeah, we weren't. I think that was just kind of a discussion of what things we'd already said from like.
Yeah.
The horse's mouth.
Yes.
Is that toilet paper for a tissue?
Yep.
Oh.
Just so people know, I'm like, again, sick.
Yeah.
So, life of having too many kids.
Too many kids and working too much.
Because, they go to some friend's house, or they go to a party, and then they come back, one of them is sick, and then it's like a cycle through everybody.
Sick, and then you're the last one to get
sick. Yes, that's what happened. Yeah.
And then you're sick.
I thought I was clear. I was like, man, that was like 4 weeks ago when it started. Yeah. But no, it hit me. Fuck it.
Pull that over there. Thank you. So I guess
get started.
We should. Do you want to address the school shooting?
Sure, you should start it. Or the Al Qaeda thing. I mean, not Al Qaeda. Who was it? Al Qaeda. Taliban.
Oh, I didn't read that.
Oh, you didn't?
No, but no, that would be so. Okay, there's our two.
But we could talk. We could still talk about boredom and all that stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't remember what day it was last week, but a trainee shot up a Christian school. I don't know if I could personally be radicalized against trans people more than I am right now.
Yeah.
I don't.
Just making sure that we're in focus. Sorry.
No, you're good. Are we not?
We are.
Okay. But no, do you have any like initial thoughts about that, or?
I guess not too much. It
seems pretty blatantly obvious.
It's just the trans person who didn't like those Pratts and probably blamed all of Christianity.
Was it not Catholic school? It was like,
yeah, it was. I don't even remember what kind it was. I can't even. I was gonna say Presbyterian, but I could be wrong. But it's one of those ones.
Evangelical American.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And then obviously, I think it was kind of more of an old-fashioned type of school. It looked like, so I would say that's probably one of the older Protestant denominations.
Yeah.
Closer like to Lutheranism and everything. They still look very Catholic in many ways. And I think it was what normally happens with those type of people or with atheists or whatever is that it just becomes a blaming of all Christians.
Yeah.
And I think that's in the end what it is. It's like, just wanting to kill. I think the one part that I didn't look it up to verify, but Matt Walsh said that I thought was pretty interesting. I think the last 4 major school shootings were all trans people.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, that's kind of wow, But
trans or suspected trans,
right? Yeah.
Or at least hardcore LGBT participants.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting because they always talk about how it's related towards mental health, and obviously somebody who is delusional about their sex is not mentally healthy.
Yes.
I mean, to say the least.
Because we're fine with we're like saying mental disorder is fine, but when you say mental illness is stupid.
Right. Yeah.
Because the mind can be disordered.
Just as everything
definitely.
Can. Yeah. Yeah. It just can't be sick like the way the body is sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think what kind of bothers me about the whole mental health shtick is that it's just everybody's claiming that they have some kind of
everybody's got a mental disorder. It's being human.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah, because they want to categorize it as if it is not being human. It's like this sickness that they have, and I don't know. The definition has gotten so broad that it just conveys ordinary human emotions.
Yeah.
And human struggles and all that shit. And so that's the part that I don't really like about it, is that I just don't think, and I haven't really thought in my entire life that clinical depression is a real thing. I don't think
you can be depressed, but that's a different.
Right, but I guess the medicalization of all that is what for me has always been an issue, and a point of contention that I would say even in because I think the current generation is even more brainwashed with it, but even my generation, I saw a lot of that brainwashing already starting.
Mm-hmm. Probably since the 70s.
Yeah. And so a lot of people always claiming that there's some kind of actual mental illness, that there's a relation between the mind and the what is that? Serotonin levels and all that shit, which I've argued as far as I can remember that sounded like bullshit.
Oh, of course.
Because my main argument, even before the recent studies that now is claiming that it is bullshit, is that you can have a false causal relation there, that they have not shown sufficient evidence that it does, that they have not committed the fallacy of false cause. Because if somebody claims to be depressed and then they do a brain scan and they're saying, look what's going on here, that therefore this chemical reaction that you're having in your brain is causing the depression. Yes. I was like, well, no, why can't it be the other way around? Why can't it be that you're depressed and your depression changed the chemical makeup of your brain?
Yeah.
I mean, that seems to be something that could also be just as...
You get sad, therefore serotonin levels drop.
Yes, yeah.
It's not serotonin levels drop, therefore you're sad.
Right,
because that wouldn't make any sense.
Yes, yeah. And so...
what would happen to cause your serotonin levels to drop therefore make you sad? Like
yeah.
What?
And so they just pump people with drugs with synthetic forms of the hormones and the chemicals. And lo and behold, they're still sad.
If not worse.
If not worse, exactly. Because now they're drugged up. They're addicted to drugs, so now they're drug addicts and they're depressed. Yeah. And so it's always been that kind of problem with many of their discussions. It's even with the other discussions of the brain, like where they're saying that one part of your brain thinks mathematically, the other one thinks
the right and left side.
Yeah. And when you think about that, it's like, well, again, they're still doing that same experiment. They put those connectors onto your scalp that detects which part of the brain is whatever getting heated when you're doing a test. And so you do a math test, they show one part of the brain getting heated. It was like, yeah, but why are you saying that the right part of your brain is what's causing one to be thinking mathematically? Why isn't it that when you're thinking mathematically, you're stimulating that part of your brain?
Yeah.
It's like there's no... They just never present any reason for that. They just make that assumption. And my main contention has always been, well,
that's stupid.
Yes, it's dumb. you can't make that causal claim. The only thing you can make is maybe a correlative claim that when one thinks mathematically, the one side of the brain lights up when it's connected to something. That's really the only conclusion you can make. Anything else would be, anything else I think similarly would be fallacious. You're jumping the gun to the conclusion, like you're missing the point.
Fallacious always sounds like fellatio to me.
I think I told you in the podcast about my...
fellatio?
Yes. No, what? That I when I learned what that word was, I was really old.
Fellatio?
Yeah.
Did you just think it was some Latin thing for fallacy?
No, I just never heard it.
Oh.
So the first time I heard it was I was 18 already. I was in college, and a game for the N64 came out called Conker's Bad Fur Day. And so one of the levels, there's like these rock people and these cavemen. And so then it's a really funny game. If anybody ever played it, it's actually one of the most funny games that I've ever played, at least for that generation. Obviously, it's old technology. Yeah, but anyways, one of them, then the caveman says you have to have a password. And then Conker was like, what's the password? And they was like, fellatio. And then he was like, Fidelio? He was like, no, fellatio. And so I thought it was funny. And, I was like, that's funny. Amanda thought it was funny. And so when we went to like college and stuff, we were just saying the word fellatio because we thought it was funny. And then people were like, why are you saying fellatio? I was like, and then I explained to them, this game, Conker's Bad Fur Day. And they looked at me like I'm an idiot. They're like, no, that means sucking dick, blowjob. I was like, what? It does? And then the joke in that game made it even more funny.
Yeah,
because
you just thought the word sounded funny?
Yes.
You're retarded.
It was just a funny word. I was like, what the fuck is a fellatio? And but then that joke was more funny because that was the password to get into like this club. And so it was like a sexual thing. And so I was like, oh. And in there it was like the song was very, very, very similar to like yeah. So all these rock people are dancing to that type of music. Yeah.
So it's a gay club.
Yes, pretty much.
We were talking about a school shooter. We were talking about fellatio. We're incapable of talking about anything with reverence right off the bat.
Yeah. Oh, that game. And then you have to piss on some guys. because you get drunk in that club, you drink all the beer, and then to fight.
What is the game called?
Conker's Bad Fur Day. It was an N64 exclusive. Like it was a second party game for Nintendo. So it was like one of the edgiest things Nintendo ever put out. And so there were these two flame guys. In order to put them out, you had to piss on them. That was one of the bosses. And so they were like in a robot, and then the balls come down. You have to hit the balls. And they're like, my balls.
What a weird.
Oh, that was such a great. It was made by Rare. Great game. That was Rare's best game. I think. Rare, they also made GoldenEye and stuff.
Oh, okay. I've definitely played GoldenEye, like Nightfire and stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah. Best game Rare ever made was Conker's Bad Fur Day. I think it's a hidden gem because it came out the last year, I think, of the N64 before like the PS2 came out and
the GameCube and stuff.
And yeah, basically outshone, and so not much people played it, but they made it for they re-released it for the Xbox, the original Xbox, I think it was, which with updated graphics, but no, you have to play the original. I say.
Oh, Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I thought you were saying conquer, like conquest.
Oh yeah.
Is bad for a day.
Oh.
And I'm like, I've never heard of that. Conker's Bad Fur Day is like the one of the most edgy games ever made.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, the pissing. Okay, I've actually like all of them.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I have played this. That's so funny.
Oh, you have, yeah.
That it's all.
Did you play on the Xbox or the N64?
Xbox.
Xbox, yeah.
That's so funny because I was like vaguely remember what you're talking about, but I wasn't thinking of the right title. Yeah, the little squirrel guy.
Yes, yeah. Man, that game was amazing. Never made a sequel. They were supposed to make a sequel, but then Rare and then Nintendo broke up.
I'm trying to remember what's the game series. I really am so most. I'm going to Google most offensive games of all time, and it's going to be on there.
Oh yeah, hopefully.
No, the game I'm thinking about.
Oh, okay.
What is it? What is it called? I can see the guy's face in my head.
Mm.
Postal.
I never played that one. Postal.
Oh, Postal's brutal.
Let me look that up.
What's the guy's in Postal 2? There's the actor. I've got to think of his. Gary Coleman. You know Gary Coleman?
Yeah.
Gary Coleman's a character in it, and you go to the mall and there's a Gary Coleman autograph signing.
Oh, really?
And like the feds descend on the mall, and he's like, ah shit no, and then like pulls an M16 out and starts shooting the feds.
Postal 2.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
They made all the way to Postal 4?
Anything after Postal 2 sucks ass. But,
oh, okay. So I'm assuming... Oh, I see, because it was the first game, 1997, was side-scrolling.
Yes. It's one of those games that was banned in like 20 countries.
Oh. So I'm assuming you just go Postal. That's the...
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's over the course of a week, and you have a list of errands you have to run.
Oh, okay.
Every day, and then the game just gets more and more and more absurd over the course of the week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then you go Postal?
No, it's Postal the entire time.
Oh, okay. No, I thought they like made you do stupid errands.
Oh yeah.
So
it gets weirder
and
weirder.
Oh, does it? Okay. Yeah.
Going shopping, and all the shopkeepers are always Indian guys.
So then you shoot them?
You can. Yeah. And do whatever you want. The cops arrest you and stuff.
Oh, wow. What did that come on? Just PC, or was it like the PS2 and stuff?
I think that the second one was only on. I don't think that was ever a console release. I think it's only the Mac and.
Man, PC. I gotta find that game.
It's pretty funny.
Do they have it on Steam now?
Oh yeah. It's pretty cheap actually.
Okay.
It's old enough that it's cheap.
Yeah. Okay. Done and done.
Yeah.
Go play Postal.
And of course, it's a tiny file because it's so old.
Yeah. I wish I could find. They really should put Conker's Bad Fur Day on Steam. I think.
Is it not on there?
I don't think so. Because now since at least the Microsoft version they could put on there, because since they remade it, it's like.
I wouldn't be surprised if it is, but I also don't know that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't even know what to expect when I got that game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's
because I remember I went to
the amount
store.
of just literal shit in the game. Like there's so much shitting.
I know.
They're shitting everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
Farting and shitting.
You have to fight that big shit monster.
Yes.
Throw toilet paper in his mouth. No, yeah.
The character's always like, fuck. And like,
because when that came out, I think it was 99, 98. And there was no...
2001.
Was that already 2001? Okay. No, the N64 one.
2001.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
So that was right before the GameCube.
Damn. Yeah, they discontinued it in 2002. It was literally your year. You're 100% correct.
Damn. So yeah, when I got it, I went to the store I was working at, the Captain Cook, and it was my, it was just the summer started, and I was like, awesome, yeah, I got this paycheck. And then I just saw the review of it really quickly on IGN, back when it was just called like IGN64.com.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. But I didn't really read it. I just saw like the Matrix scene. I was like, oh man, that looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's funny.
And they're saying very right one. And so I just went to buy it. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I was like, hey man, you want to try this game out? And we started playing it, and just immediately it was like, so vulgar. I was like, whoa, this is kind of amazing. It's
literally the most late 90s, early 2000s video game.
Yes, yeah. It was like, wow, this is amazing. And we couldn't stop playing it. It was just...
It's pretty good.
Yeah, we started binging that.
I haven't played that in a long time.
Yeah.
That was one of the early, like, my parents would be so mad if I was playing this thing.
Well, yeah, because you were.
I remember playing like the first Saints Row and stuff, and be like, oh, my parents would be so mad if I was.
yeah, or the Grand Theft Auto and all that.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm brutal. Grand Theft Auto.
Did your parents disapprove of that game, or they just didn't know about it, so they didn't?
Oh, they didn't know about that. Yeah. Yes, definitely, they would have not enjoyed that.
My parents coming from Peru just didn't. They never monitored it because they really thought that video games were just for kids.
Oh yeah.
And so it didn't even cross their mind that there's going to be inappropriate games. It was just like, no, it's like.
Well, my parents. I think it was the swearing and the sexual content that didn't like.
Yes,
because they didn't care about us playing Halo and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, that's
no. What I mean is that they never even checked. Like they didn't. It wouldn't cross their mind that there were inappropriate games in existence.
Oh yeah.
Like it would just, and I guess the inappropriateness already started after, I graduated high school, anyways. Because, Super Nintendo didn't really have that many. No. If there was,
it was little innuendo things.
Yes, yeah. And 64 didn't have too much besides this. The PS1 started to have some that parents started to disagree with, mostly just violence. But yeah, for my parents,
have you ever heard of Mort the Chicken?
Kind
from the PS1.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I do remember that name, but I don't remember what the game is.
It's more. Is it Chicken Mort or Mort the Chicken? I think it's Mort the Chicken.
Mort the Chicken.
Does that cover look familiar? I have a copy of that for the first PlayStation.
Do you?
Joe has all my PlayStation stuff.
But, yes, that cover definitely looks familiar.
But that one is your.
Got 2.5.
Yes, it's so good, but it was panned horribly when it came out. It is really funny. The mechanics are ass. Yes. Like really badly designed.
The reason why IGN gives it for 2.5 is as painful.
But it's so funny and absurd. It's on Earth.
Yeah.
Every cube-shaped object is an enslaved member of a cube race on a cube planet from outer space. So this cube race, their Cubicles is their dictator's name. Like their planet is ruled by Cubicles.
Oh, okay.
And they have the Nazi phalanx and a giant theater, and he's giving Hitler speeches. And he's like, the cube race retaliates by stealing all of the chicken babies off of a farm. So Mort the chicken goes into space to rescue the baby chickens from the cube race. It's really absurd.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Like I don't like it. Only that a game like that could only have been released in that generation of consoles. Like It's really dumb. But it's also one of those games. It's like playing. It's like it's miraculous that the game exists at all.
Right. Yeah.
So it feels cool. Like you're playing it feels awesome.
Yeah, something that can never be repeated.
In
different generations.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good days. But anyways, probably shouldn't get in a video game episode again.
School shooter.
Yeah. Okay. So some tranny.
Do we have any?
Did you see the police footage of killing her?
Oh yeah, it's badass.
That was
badass.
That was a really badass video. It was like straight to the point. Boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that was when I heard about it, and I heard like, there's another school shooting.
Yeah.
And I read the headline. I think it was the first. I don't remember what news outlet put the first headline out.
Yeah.
The second I read, I was like, tranny.
Yeah.
Like knew it immediately. Yeah. There's no way this isn't a transvestite or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it came out 2 days later that it was a tranny. I was like, it's like, obviously. And we didn't know if it was a man pretending to be a woman or a woman pretending to be a man or like whatever.
I think just one day, the next day.
But however long it was, I just remember being like affirmed the next day. I'm like, of course.
Yeah.
Obviously.
It has to be a tranny. Yeah. When it first happened, I didn't really read too much about it, but I did see it already starting to fade from the news. And that's where I started to suspect it's either going to be a tranny or a Negro. Mm-hmm. And that's really what, those two options came to my head. But then when they kept saying she, it was like, oh, they're really emphasizing the...
Which is interesting. The reason I thought it would, initially, before I knew anything, I thought it was a man pretending to be a woman because how much they were saying she.
Yes, yeah.
So I thought it was actually kind of impressive and commendable that they were properly gendering her.
Yes, yeah. But they were really focusing on the fact that it was a she. So that's what pushed me towards...
I wonder if they didn't want anyone to question that it was a trans person.
I think so, yeah. So that's what I thought to myself. I was like, oh, this must be another trans shooter.
Yeah.
And, but I didn't know the last 4, because I remember the last other one was...
The Uvalde.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I didn't... But then when he listed the other ones, I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. There has been 4 fucking trannies.
Yeah, and I just...
But this is the first time a chick did it, huh? I don't think there's been any other chicks.
I think there's been 1 or 2.
Really? Yeah, I don't know any of them.
And that was I remember when I texted you, I was like, I knew it was trans because they said she, and there's no way a woman would shoot up a school.
Yeah.
But then I realized that I was wrong. It was a woman pretending to be a man.
Yes, yeah.
So
taking testosterone.
Yeah,
and all that shit,
yeah. But I was like, there's no, like, women don't shoot schools up.
Yeah.
Women don't do that.
Yeah, they're not violent that way.
No, women will poison.
Yes,
they'll do gas attacks. They'll do bombs and stuff. But a woman wouldn't run in and shoot people point blank.
I know. Yeah, it's all fucked up. But yeah,
like a woman, like that to me is the most perverse part of it, is that a woman was doing that. I mean, the death also.
Yeah.
But when Norm is like, I think the worst part is the rape.
Yes.
But to me, the most disturbing part is with like the quote unquote trans community is reacting to it.
Oh yes, yeah.
Is they're doing like a bunch of like the trans ally thing is strengthening and heightening. Yeah. Like they're putting out stuff like trans flags that put out like fuck around and find out. I'm like, what? Find out you're gonna shoot more kids? Like what?
Yeah.
Like what's the? I don't understand the. So a trans person shoots up a school, kills 3 adults and 3 children, and your response is to say fuck around and find out.
Yes, yeah.
Like what are we gonna find out?
Yeah, just how insane.
Like you're gonna shoot more children to death. Yeah. Like what? I don't understand. And I don't know what the strategy is. I don't know what the tact is.
And the interesting thing is that, death is a very big part of their entire culture, considering that
the dead naming thing.
Well, no, actually, just thinking of suicide, but yeah, I guess the dead naming as well. Yeah. But I guess giving somebody synthetic hormones to fuck around with their brain, somebody who's already fucked up and perverted in their brain, willing to kill themselves, it doesn't seem that much of a stretch. For them then to take it out to other people. Do you know what I mean?
Of course. Well, they've been yearning for violence forever.
Yes, yeah.
Like punch a Nazi, shoot a Nazi, punch a Nazi, kick a Nazi, right, yeah. Kill a Nazi. Like they want violence. This is what they want.
I know.
And I know this is kind of an extension of the. I think it is so. I know. I got a couple messages from people we know that like. We had that discussion last week about like beating the shit out of trans people because like they it was like you said that like when a toddler is acting out for long enough you just have to whack them.
Oh right, yeah.
So it's like the trans you just have to beat the shit out of them until they stop.
Oh yeah, I guess I was including like all of the left, but yeah.
No, it was about trans people.
Yeah.
we were talking about beating up trans people, but the fact that we had that discussion that immediately after they do it.
Yes.
Like, oh, okay. And then there was a photo of a die-in. I don't know if you know what those are, where they all pretend to be dead. And I'm like, wow, you guys are making it easy.
I know, yeah.
Like everybody clear out gas. Done. Like
yes, yeah. Just spray them down with like a fucking full automatic machine gun.
Like
just mow them down.
It's so like they want it. They want to be mass arrested.
Yes, yeah.
They want violence.
Yeah. No, yeah, they're
like that's what they like the response the I can't even say trans because it's a fake thing.
Yeah.
The gender goblin community, the thing they're proud of her.
Right, of course they are, yeah.
Totally.
The same way.
Fuck around and find out?
Yeah.
That shouldn't be your response to a bunch of kids getting shot in a school.
Yeah. But yeah, she's becoming a hero, an icon, which I think probably there's going to just be more of it. Because more obviously violence? Yeah, because
this is a little bit of the dam cracking.
Yeah. Because the whole media sphere is promoting it. I mean, it's.
Yeah, did you see? I don't remember what the thing's deleted now. They took the piece down.
Yeah,
but they I did a tweet about it, and a couple people we know were like commented on it, but like the school shooter could have been a children's artist. I'm like, really? You can't do the Hitler could paint thing.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's been like 3 days. Like, give it a second before you talk about how the school shooter could paint.
Yeah.
Like, don't stop. Like, they're coming to her rescue.
I know.
That fast. It's like,
I know they are,
she could have been a children. It's like, first of all, her art was shit.
Yes, yeah. No, yeah, the whole thing is dumb. And so that's why I think
it's insane.
It's just going to build up more because, once you're being supported by a media with that big, everybody wants to be famous. Being famous is like the...
Well, they're martyring themselves for the gender thing.
Oh, yeah, that too. But I mean, that's...
You don't shoot up a school without wanting to die. It's like, do I want to commit suicide pathetically, or do I want to be killed by cops?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I bet she was an anarchist, wasn't she? Like, I bet she was an anarcho-capitalist or something like that. Yeah. It just is...
Yeah.
Like, if it were my choice, I'd just preempt. I'd just be like, all right, we're arresting you en masse. Seriously. Like, it was like you show
really
up.
Do need help.
You show up, you arrest en masse. And if it was South America, it's like you pop them in the head if they refuse. Like, okay.
Yes, yeah.
We'll see you at the bottom of a river. Like
yeah.
Yeah, it's over. Like the discussion thing is done. I know that's what we said last time. Like, there's no talking about it anymore.
Yeah, there isn't. Yeah. No, yeah, I'm starting to remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I like they're killing kids now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any other.
Yeah, me either. It's.
Yeah, I don't know if I could be personally radicalized against them more than I am now.
Yeah.
As far as ideologically.
Yeah. And how to handle them.
Yeah, they don't exist to me.
Yeah.
At all. Like, that is a totally fake thing. And I will.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree.
Anyway, I mean, that's like kind of what I have to say about it. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, I guess the other topic that I found interesting was, it was we were supposed to talk about it, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, about boredom.
Yeah, because one of our I don't necessarily know how comfortable
yeah,
he's got nothing to lose. I don't know if he gives a shit or not, but he'll know we're talking about him. But one of the better friends of the podcast has really been dealing with boredom as an existential problem.
Yeah.
That I think is really common now. It's something I struggle with a lot.
Right, yeah.
But you found it was Time Magazine?
Yeah, about Time Magazine.
Yeah.
And so I guess just to I guess put out the points of views there before we get into the Time Magazine article, just because I do think I do think
you have it pulled up.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Oh, let me. What is the? Or I'll find it.
Okay.
Or you sent it to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now.
Okay. Yeah, just send it to me and I'll get it on here.
Yeah, and so because the, I think it's been a topic in which the people on the left coddle, and I think people on the right criticize, and if there's they both kind of seem to, I believe, be missing the point, because basically if you listen to most people on the right, they're gonna call anybody who complains about their job, about their 9-to-5 work, being babies, being pathetic and being losers and everything, and then think people on the left don't really help people by coddling this kind of I guess you can't say childlike, but there is a coddling the dissatisfaction of how they exist right now, to continue perpetuating them and making them be like people that have no responsibility, because essentially that's what the left solution is to turn everybody into children, to not have a family, to not cultivate any virtues or whatever. And I think both of them kind of are seems to be missing the point. And I think the Taliban's reaction to mundane life is kind of what I think illustrates what I kind of mean right now. Because the issue is that a lot of young people, especially living in a godless society that most of the West is nowadays, want to do something meaningful for one thing. And so this started with the millennials, and everybody was always making fun of the millennials for that. Like they want to do something important, something meaningful. They hate their jobs. They talk about how bad of employees they were. And I think then with Gen Z, it's kind of continuing, if not spiraling even more out of madness, when they're not taking any sense of responsibility at all. Like they don't even want to work. The unemployment rate for the Gen Z is like so fucking high. That it's that is kind of ridiculous. It's like, wow, nobody. I remember being like, and this is a problem that the right wingers many times do, is that they're going to do what I'm doing right now. Is because I remember when I was 14 and I started working in a restaurant with my dad, and then I remember I'm turning 16, branching out and working at other places, and just putting in my hours and putting in my time and whatever. And the generation after me, the later millennials kind of already stopped doing that, or at least they vocalized their complaints more, even though they still did it. But then now the Gen Z is like, fuck it, we're not going to be doing it at all. And so none of them are working. Most 16-year-olds are just either maybe get a part-time job for about a week or two, they're saying, this is hurting my work-life balance, blah, blah, blah. And then they just quit. And so I think the issue really in the end of the day is not so much that people are rejecting work, because it's very hard to say that what we do nowadays is work.
And it's not.
Yeah. And I really do think that's the beginning of where the conversation should be. Not so much just criticizing the young people, but really trying to comprehend what it is. Because so let's look at the Taliban article.
Because I'm reading, I just read it, and there's some pretty hilarious.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
So what I guess it was is a research firm in Afghanistan conducted a survey amongst ex-Taliban jihadists.
Yes. Because just so people know, after we pulled out of Afghanistan, the Taliban just took over the fucking country.
Yes.
And so now they have to do everything, like the DMV work. They have to, their version of Medicaid.
They actually have to run the government.
Yes, now they have to do all the mundane shit that we have to do. And so all the people that took over are just ex-Taliban people.
Yeah.
And so now they're spending their entire day looking at a fucking computer screen.
What is this? Where was the they ranged in age from 24 to 32 and had spent between 6 and 11 years in the Taliban at different ranks. A Taliban commander, a sniper, a deputy commander, and 2 fighters. Broadly speaking, all of our interviewees preferred their time as fighters in what they considered a jihad. Now the men find themselves shackled with the bureaucracy of running a country as they work civilian jobs in security positions, spend too much time in traffic and on Twitter, and yearn for the tranquility of village life. It's like they're...
And then this part was really interesting about the tediousness of clocking in. Right.
Okay.
And so they said they find clocking in for office more work tedious and almost unbearable. Right. I mean, just think about what that means. You have these people who lived in villages who drove around in back of the trucks with Soviet weapons and shooting shit up or planning explosives or whatever. But the part that seems tedious and unbearable is punching in a fucking time clock. And then it says another part that's pretty interesting is about traffic, right? And so it says, he said, and the internet. I found the internet one first. And so it says, in our ministry, there's little work for me to do, said Abdul Nafi, who's 25. Therefore, I spend most of my time on Twitter. We're connected to speedy Wi-Fi, or how they pronounce it, Wi-Fi. We're connected to speedy Wi-Fi and internet. Many mujahideen, including me, are addicted to the internet, especially Twitter. And so this is all causing stress for them. It's they're doom scrolling on fucking Twitter, and they're just staring at a computer screen for eight fucking hours.
That's what happens at work.
Yeah. It says these days you have to go to the office before 8 a.m. and stay there until 4 p.m. If you don't go, you're considered absent, and the wage for that day is cut from your salary. We're now used to that. But this was especially difficult for the first 2 or 3 months. And so the idea that you have to be at a certain place, punching in your clock.
At a certain time.
Regardless of production. It's just about putting in your time. And so, I mean, we could keep going through more of these funny quotes.
So the title of the article is Taliban militants fed up with office culture, ready to quiet quit.
Yes. Or lack of social life.
The picture is a guy in the Afghani Muslim hat with the beard at a computer.
Probably looking at Twitter. It's Yeah, I think the other part was lack of social life. Says those in Kabul, like me, work from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So most of the week, we don't get any time to meet each other. And so, they're basically now living the way that we do from day to day. And by we, I just mean the West, yeah. They made it long for the simple life. So now when someone's nominated for a government job, you first ask whether that position has a car or not. We used to live among the people. Many of us have caged ourselves in our offices and palaces, and so they view it as actual like entrapment now. Like they're no longer free now. They're just.
But I think that they would have a much more sane perspective.
Exactly,
because they went from proper living to
this
whatever this is.
And so I think that this is what my point is. I think this is a great example of that the complaints that the young people have, I think, are legitimate complaints. Mm-hmm. Now, their solutions obviously aren't legitimate, but their complaints are legitimate.
Well, they want to. I think that the thing that young people want to do, maybe if just because it's all we know, this is the only kind of. We being, demographically, we only know employment as it currently exists in retail and in offices, is that we want to take that format and perfect it.
Yes.
Instead of rejecting it completely. Like what do you mean? Well, we understand that like working in offices from a certain time to a certain time, regardless of how much work you actually get done, it's more, you're paid for your time more than you are for your work. We recognize that as bad, but instead of rejecting that format altogether, we want to perfect the faulty part,
way
of being.
That there's something intrinsically kind of fucked up with it.
Yes, but we see all the accidental quality. Yes. So we try to change that, and it's like, but it will never be fulfilled.
You're still stuck in that cycle. So whether it's an office job or you're working like at fucking Nordstrom's or whatever, it's like it's still the same thing. And so I talked about this. We talked about this many seasons ago now, I think it was a little bit, but one of the interesting things was that I think what the Taliban is experiencing is really similar to how people lived more in the medieval period. And so there's a lot of people that call them barbarians and everything, whatever. But I do think they were living more behind the times. They never adapted to the contemporary world.
What did Ben Shapiro says 8th century barbarian?
Yes, phrase. I mean, there is some truth to that.
Yeah.
But I don't take that as an insult. I'm like, I would rather be an 8th century barbarian. Not that I'm a Mohammedan, but I'm just saying that. But there is some truth to that.
You'd rather be a Christian in the 8th century.
Yes, yeah. And that's because the way that work, before the Industrial Revolution, the way that work was normally measured was based on outcome as opposed to time invested.
Yeah.
I
want you to do this.
Yes.
And then you do that.
You
provide that service or product.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how long it takes you.
Yes. Yeah.
I
mean, if you take too long, they'll probably whip you or whatever, or not pay you.
Yeah.
In the more civilized parts of the medieval world, but overall, I mean, they would get mad if you
take too long. Unreasonable amount.
Right. But I think the difference was that it wasn't as if you say, I'm putting 8 hours every day into this. It's like, if it only took you 4 hours, then the output was already done.
Yeah.
Right. And so when like Reuters, when they published this a few years back, 2013, there was a heavy research done on medieval life, and there's some people that
you're talking about a new thing.
Yeah, a new thing. Yeah, about the way the lowest of class in the medieval world, which were the peasants or the serfs, the max that they worked was on average 150 days of the whole year, and to just think about that. Only 150 days out of 365 they really worked. Now, there's some people who dispute that, but I think there's been plenty of research to at least say that it's going to be between 150 to 180 days that that the lowest class of people, I'm not talking about just like the regular class, the lowest class of people worked. The more upper class, like the academics who were mostly clergymen, their labor simply consisted of what they produced in terms of food for their community, and for each other, I should say, and then what they put into their disputes and their writings and all of their academic world. But there was never like, it wasn't as if these, theologians had to come into a place, sit down for 8 hours a day, put in their time, and then go home. It was like they structured their reality in accordance to the way that they exist. And so like
what they were expected to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like Aquinas was known to normally write multiple books at once because he had scribes.
Yeah.
And so he would have one scribe over there. He would say something, and he would go to another scribe. And so he would be writing like 3 or 4 books at once. But that's how he worked. But then it was sufficient to the part that he was just done. He was like, okay, we're done. And then the scribes would go. So the scribes were obviously greater than the peasants. And so the amount of time they put in sometimes maybe was only 2 hours for that day. It was 3 hours.
Depends on how much Aquinas taught.
Yeah, it depended. Well, yeah, what their masters were wanting them to produce at that point. But it was always contingent on the output. It was like, I want you to do this. And so then you would do it. I want you to be with me while we're doing this or whatever. And so there was no measurement of your labor and your cost in relation to the time invested. Because now we have to say that time is money or whatever.
Yeah, which is stupid.
Which is dumb, right? Yes. But that is the way that we look at it now. Because now it's no longer anything about output. You could be at an office job like for 10 hours and output nothing.
Me, all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. But 11 hours. But yeah.
11 hours, yes. But you're expected still to be there. And what do most people do, like what these Taliban people are saying? They just scrolling through fucking Twitter. Other ones are probably just on TikTok scrolling for 6-7 hours, and doing absolutely nothing. Because there is, I think, an issue with how the industrial world presents labor.
Well, I also just don't think that there's any opportunity for actual specialization. Outside of being like a plumber or an electrician. And something interesting to me is, that like I was on a Mr. Patriarch stream earlier today, and this does kind of dovetail really nicely with what we were talking about. We were talking about the way how people don't have the opportunity to understand themselves in a communal the context of the community, because they just don't, the work is just not what it used to be. But we talk about like electricians or something.
Yeah.
Electrician as a profession is maybe 100 years old.
Yes.
At most.
Yes. Yeah.
And even that, like electricians, probably not really until the 30s or the 40s on as wide of a scale as we have now.
Like unionized and all that.
So it's like you can't get people to be electricians. It's like, well, yeah, people don't naturally want to do that. Like it's not
right. Yeah.
It's not it's a new.
Right. Yeah.
A plumber is a new profession.
Yes.
That's not. We haven't had running water for 150 years.
Yeah.
Like.
But I think a deeper issue really is the idea that human beings are resources. Because you see, the difference is that in the medieval world, what was produced was for humans. So all the things that are produced are resources, right? And so human beings became like the teleology for the human beings were the purpose for the resources to exist. But then we have all in the contemporary world have accepted the Marxist idea that human beings are themselves a resource. And so you always,
yes.
And so you hear many people on the left and the right say the greatest resource we have, or the greatest overhead cost that a business has, is employees, is people, as if that is just a factor amongst other factors. Like you have table, chairs, internet, and people. Yeah, and it's like they're there, and so the dehumanization of the people, I think, is greatly effective.
But I think the dehumanization of the people is the reason that companies are so big.
Yes, exactly.
The only way.
It's the only way that they could exist that way. I agree.
Because, before we were recording, we were talking about how for the vast majority of human history,
Mhm.
a massive part of an individual's identity and feeling of purpose
Yeah.
was the service or product they provided.
Exactly.
And I guess men specifically.
Yes, yeah.
For men was whatever service or product or whatever you provided to your community.
For the women, it was like nuns did a lot.
Yes.
In the medieval world. But anyways, yeah.
I just mean like mothers were
exactly
being mothers. That's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But especially for men, is like, you had the bread guy and the meat guy and the candy guy and the shoe guy and the clothes guy.
The guy who makes the hats
and the guy that makes the buildings.
Exactly.
Like there was,
or the people that just made the bricks so they could build the buildings.
Just that.
Brickmakers,
yes. And there's something so fundamental about a person's sense of belonging in a community that's tied to that.
Yes.
To that. And I really think that's why everybody wants to be artists and musicians now, is because that is the most readily accessible thing to produce, to be identified.
Right. Yes.
Amongst community is like that's kind of the lowest rung, the lowest shelf thing you can do is like put music out.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Because even in the medieval times, there were philosophers. There were also musicians. There were theologians.
Yes.
There were many
but
people
it wasn't
that was also intellectual that made their identity.
But it wasn't like those were the only people who felt purpose in the world.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. Is that that I think. Like what you're saying, definitely that purpose and their was correlated with what they provided for the community, for the society, or the kingdom, if you want to say. You have the duke and the duchess, and then they kind of have their serfs and their peasants, and then they have the upper class, and so on and so forth. And I think one of the biggest differences really is that human beings weren't viewed as resources, but also the fact that it was Catholic. I think the very fact that these people, since they viewed you as human, they viewed you as somebody who is required to fulfill holy days of obligation, to go to mass, to not work on Sundays, to have all these holidays, all these feast days off. I mean, that's why they only ended up working 150 days a year, the lowest class of people, while the other ones probably only worked like 50 days a year, right? Yeah. Which is why they had carnivals. Like the invention of carnivals was the gathering of the meats. Carne is where it comes from, where they would drink wine, they would eat the meats before they go bad, and then they would eat it on feast days and praising certain saints and so on and so forth. It was that you weren't a resource, you were human, and as being human, you partook in beauty, you partook in goodness, you partook in salvation, just like the Duke and everybody does. And when you dehumanize people, that's really where you get to like this more anti-human reality that we live in now. Someone doom scrolling through Twitter or through
it's the most anti-human.
It's anti-human
activity you can do.
Yes,
I mean, dude, scrolling Pornhub or something, I guess, is the most anti-human.
Because
that's like 2 degrees worse.
It's horrible. Yeah. Like I haven't done it much in my life, but this past week when I was sick, they didn't want me to get, don't let me sick. And so they said, you have to go back to a hotel because you can't get the big guy sick.
Yeah.
I was like, fine, whatever. And that was the first time probably in my life that I have ever doom scrolled as long as I did.
And it was like, what, 10 hours? 8 hours?
Probably 8 hours, I think it was, yeah.
And I think you got a taste of what everybody else is doing all the time.
It was horrible. It was one of the worst things. I have to reset my brain. It was like an addiction. It was like you would see one video, like, it's kind of funny. Then you go out, there's another video. I was like, it's pretty funny too.
This is what everybody does all the time. You're lucky that you don't have to do that.
Yes, I just don't experience it because because if they sent me, if I was here, I would have gone home. If I went home, I would have my family. There's other things for me to do, but you send me to a hotel room and I'm sick. I was vomiting. I was like, I had nothing to do. What the fuck am I going to do? And then just began like texting people, say, hey, what are you doing? And then it just, from there, you just went I went to Instagram and started scrolling. And stuff, then went to YouTube. Yeah. And next thing I knew, I was like, my whole day is gone.
Yeah.
And I just felt horrible.
Yeah.
Like,
but the thing is, the interesting is I would be curious to know if you experienced a physiological phenomenon that you hadn't before of like.
I think it was.
It's a. Because I mean, I work in my current place of employment is not nearly as like desperately boring as the last, and I do appreciate it. The people I work with are really nice. I know a fifth of the patients because they're all from the town I grew up in. Like there's a lot of like social interaction to be had and stuff. I do appreciate that, but there's a specific exhaustion in the core that comes from doom scrolling all the time. And I don't
and
know
thumb because I never do it. My thumb actually got a little bit cramped.
There's a physiological because I know I've told you before. There's being exhausted because you did so much. And that's rewarding. That's a rewarding. Anytime that I have the opportunity to feel exhausted because I worked so much or did so much, I relish that because it's rare. But then there's an exhaustion from doing nothing.
Yes, and that was horrible.
And doing it is a really desperately horrible sensation. To be physically and mentally exhausted because you did nothing. And it's like when I talk about how I'm bored and I hate work and whatever, I feel that all the time. Like I like 40, 50 hours a week, I'm experiencing that sensation. It's like, duh, everybody wants to die all the time.
Yes. And I think a lot of people are just experiencing that because that's what their jobs have become, right? And that's what like what contemporary labor is. When we say labor or workforce or these people don't want to work, it was like I don't think it's that the young people don't want to work.
No one wants to be employed.
Yes, that's the difference is that it isn't that work that bothers them because some of them put tremendous amount of work and shit that they do that they want to do. Like some of these people that produce like their own TikTok videos or whatever, they put a tremendous amount of work. So it isn't work that they're running from. It's being a resource that they're running from. It's like they're running from the anti-human reality that we exist right now. And it's and I do think it just has gotten worse, and I think it gets worse every generation. And it began to also make me think about the trope that's probably been around for 100 years, that every generation thinks that their generation is better than the new generation that has come after them. But people will normally put that as being merely subjective. I'm beginning to think, no, maybe it isn't that they're subjectively realizing that, it's that they're objectively realizing that no, things are just getting worse. Right? It isn't that the generation 60 years ago was just better for them. No, it was just better. And the generation 60 years before them was just better. And we are just getting worse. People are getting more dumb. Like they did this research, and whether you put a lot of emphasis on IQ, whatever, but this is like the first generation that
IQ is lower.
The IQ has been reducing. Yes. The generation.
But IQ doesn't need to be high anymore.
It doesn't. Yeah.
You listen to them all talk, and it's like
yes. But I do think that there's it's like something diabolical with what happened in the Western world after the Industrial Revolution. There's something magnificent in terms of what it accomplished for our corporeal comforts. But
even then, I don't know if we're more comfortable.
That's what we're going to say, because then in the flip side, it's like, what did it really do? It satiated desires that people had, thinking that this is what heaven would be like. And so when you read descriptions of the old days of what they thought heaven would be like, it is what we've made now. And so we've tried to emulate or make heaven on earth, and that's really what it is.
And I think that could only be a Protestant thing, because Catholics would never. Catholics are not interested in manifesting heaven on earth. We get that we can't do that.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and I think that's why the Industrial Revolution,
prosperity gospel thing.
Yeah, exactly. It did come hand in hand with Protestantism. Like it couldn't have existed without it. And but I think what it ended up doing was it really, I keep using this term, so I want to use something else, but it's so antithetical to what it means to be human.
Yeah.
In the end of the day. And I think this is what we're seeing in everything, which is why I think each generation, in some capacity, also wants to cling on to something in their generation that is human. Like in the discussions that you and I had about our generation, because we are part of the same generation, we're different parts of our generation.
But we're the same.
We're the same. It's like, I think one of the reasons why so many rejected much of pop culture in the end was because what you were saying, at least in terms of music, because this is also, I think, true with movies and everything, but the way you described it in the music, I thought was pretty accurate and kind of profound. It was that, music went to a point where synthetically it's like perfect. It's like it's machine made. It's not human. Yeah. But it's not human. And so what then? And again, this is the fault, because we as a culture, we don't have a proper understanding of teleology or whatever. And so what did we do? We looked at the accidents and then clinged on to the accidents that were human, right? And so they wanted the audio to be sounded as if it was recorded in their garage. That's just an accident of it. It doesn't have to sound that shitty. But because it wasn't machine made, that's at least more human. So they grabbed onto that. And so and this is what you see with everything. So same with vocals. It was like you even though the person doesn't sing well, they would rather hear that than an auto-tuned voice.
Oh, easily.
Because you could hear all the faults, all the cracks. And it isn't that the degeneracy of those qualities is what makes it good, but it is what makes it human. And as long as it is what made it human, it's where they grabbed onto. And I think the same thing happened with film, and that's why there was a huge movement that went to digital.
The indie film thing,
yes, but then the indie film and all these people was like, no, I just want to shoot in a fucking film now, because there was something more human about
photography. Did the same thing.
Photography, everything did the same thing, because we started to we want to hold on to something. There had to have been something, right, kind of in our life that isn't this, right?
Yeah.
That was something organic.
And that's the other thing. I think about the indie music thing.
Yeah.
It does bother me a little bit to say indie, because it's such a broad thing.
Oh, yeah.
But there's something about music people wanting to know the people who make the music.
Yes, yeah, because I think it brings it back to humanity as well.
The smaller artists, having intimate knowledge of the process makes it more relatable.
Yes, yeah. But I do think it's almost like subconsciously, it has to be a rejection of what the contemporary world is.
Yeah, like seriously, it's like it's not that Ariana Grande or someone isn't hyper talented.
Yes.
She's a spectacular singer.
Yes.
She's beautiful.
Yeah.
She's
yes.
Like she's I get all of that, but there's something about the production that is anti-human.
Yeah.
It's not, I just want to hear her sing.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I have massive respect, and I do enjoy Adele's music.
Yeah.
But something about her, what's that, is it Easy on Me, the divorce song that she put out?
Yeah.
The thing, and Rick Beato, I don't know if you're not a music guy, but Rick Beato's he's probably 60 something now. He does a lot of like deep dive music theory YouTube stuff. Like he had an interview with Kim Thayil, with the guitarist from Soundgarden.
Oh, okay.
Like that Soundgarden guy with a couple of the guys from Nirvana. He had an interview with Matt Cameron only. It's, I think, the only interview of its kind with Matt Cameron. He's the drummer from Soundgarden and Pearl Jam. And like he just really deep dive stuff.
Yeah.
And he did a,
what's his name? Because I might have watched
Rick Beato. You probably, he's got millions and millions of subscribers now. I've been following him for years. He's definitely one of the people that I've I followed for a long time who absolutely deserves every shred of respect he gets.
Yeah.
He is a genius and one of the most
I've watched.
He is.
I watched some of his interviews.
He is the
stuff,
real deal.
Yeah, yeah.
He is like one in the generation kind of guy.
Yeah.
But he did a breakdown of that "Easy on Me." Is it "Easy on Me"? Is the Adele song?
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
I think it's "Easy." I don't remember what it's called. Yeah. But he did a thing. He did a breakdown of that. He has a "What Makes This Song Great" series.
Yes.
A lot of it's grunge stuff.
Yeah.
But he did a thing on that song, and one of his emphases in that breakdown was that her voice is entirely unaltered.
Yeah, yeah.
There's many parts in that where if you take a tuner, she's actually singing sharp or flat.
Okay, yeah.
Skillfully and like kind of right in the threshold, but like she's not singing perfectly on tune.
Right, yes, yeah.
And like there's something about that's why Adele I think is so massively successful.
Yeah.
Like she's Michael Jackson level successful.
Yeah, yeah.
Sales wise.
Yeah.
And I think that like Michael Jackson obviously was talented. Just that talented.
Yeah, he was.
He was just that good of a songwriter and singer.
Yes, yeah.
Like he's like once in a century.
Yes,
magnetic.
Yes.
Because he didn't have access to all the technology, but like really like Adele, Michael Jackson, Elton John, that level of successful artist will not be machine made. You can't machines don't have, at least currently, I don't know what the AI thing, maybe that might be something we discuss now, but there just it's not human enough to connect with everybody in the way that it might eventually become capable of emulating the human quality enough to connect with everybody.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know, which would be it would be weird to like make a technology to emulate imperfection when people can just do that.
Yes. But it would still be synthetic.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is in the end. And I think
I'll hear you. I'm gonna grab more of this.
Okay, yeah. I think it was just our entire life. We're just inundated with what the Industrial Revolution gave us, which was really, at the end of the day, was the rejection of humanity, rejection of spirituality, and everything. Because what we don't have anymore, really, at the end of the day, is engagement with humans. I think the fact that we text all the time, the fact that people communicate with people on social media and everything, is that the more technology we have, the further removed we are from humanity. Mm-hmm. And I think everything about the Industrial Revolution, everything about technology, is that. And so, to go back like to the labor part, I think labor, what the contemporary world tries to do is they try to make human beings into a machine.
Yeah.
And the reason why human beings are being replaced by machines is not because machines do things better than humans, but it's precisely because initially you try to make that human being into a machine. And so obviously a machine is going to do it better. Yeah. And so when they find a way for a machine to do something that you try to make the human do.
Well, if perfect repetition is the criteria for good work, obviously a machine designed well enough,
it's just going to do it. But yeah. And so it's like, I think a lot of this anger that the young people have with the workforce, or sadness, you should say, depression, everything that they have, I don't think it could just be easily excused as them being babies. I think at the end of the day, it's that they.
Oh, definitely not. Because that's actually one of my. I don't know if I've probably talked about it on the show before, but one of the probably the greatest divergence I have from my mother as far as mutual understanding is work.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that she's my mom and I want to talk to her about stuff, and I talk about how much I just viscerally hate work.
Yeah.
As we know it now, and she just, chalk, you just chalk it up to somebody being lazy, you chalk it up to somebody being
exactly,
like, oh, well, why don't you just she's like, well, you're learning valuable skills. And I'm like, to do what? Like, what are you talking about? I'm learning skills. Standing? Yeah. Like, oh, you stand well. Like, oh, you can answer phones better. What skill am I learning?
Skill is like Twitter better.
It's like what? Like, oh, I guess I could handle being in a concentration camp better now because I know what suffering's like. Like what?
Yeah.
Just what on earth kind of response is that?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, yeah, she's a teacher for 30 years or whatever, and she genuinely enjoyed that. It's like good. Yeah. But what's funny is she's trying to pay this house off, so she got a job. My sister's brother-in-law started an insurance company, and my mom got a job working for him selling insurance. Oh, and when she told me about that, I laughed out loud. I was like, there is no way you're going to sell insurance. And she was like, no, I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to try it. And, just like use this extra income to pay this house off, whatever.
Yeah.
And then like in the last couple of weeks, she's like, I can't do it. And I'm like, I know you can't do that.
She was a teacher.
Like you can't sell insurance.
Yeah.
You retired. Like, what are you
exactly? Yeah.
You're going to die. You're going to you're going to jump off a roof if you keep doing this.
Yeah.
Like everyone hates that.
Of course. Yeah. And
if you're not selling yourself,
yeah,
it's horrible.
Yes. Yeah.
If you sell a skill you have and can provide to people tangibly,
or a tangible product is easy to sell.
Yes. Like if there's something you're a badass at making that you can sell people and they want.
Yeah.
Great, but selling policies.
That's true. I don't let me get started on insurance. I mean,
I know. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, so you're aborting babies essentially.
Yes, yeah.
You're like
selling potentials.
So you've sold your soul to the devil himself.
Yes, I hate insurance.
No, but I just want to help people. Like, okay,
yes, that's not helping people. You're just stealing their money. But yeah, they're just so. Yeah, I really do think that. Young people, we don't get to labor anymore.
No,
that's the difference. And so like when your mom talks about it, it's because she was a teacher. That's different. The reason why,
she's a woman and she's a teacher.
Yes, but the reason why like so many of these people, what irritates me is like if like Ben Shapiro or Matt Walsh or one of them just start criticizing. It was like, you're not doing it. You're fucking podcasting. You made thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars podcasting
a year.
Month, yeah. Why don't you go to an office and doom scroll through fucking Twitter? It's like, tell me how you fucking like it. There's a reason why they don't do it, and that they're criticizing others. Yeah. It's like, you don't do it yourself because you realize that is hell. Yeah. You realize that is anti-human. That is not what it means to exist properly.
Yeah.
And so then to demand everybody else to be doing that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, what really needs to be done is just a destruction of this entire fucking system. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, we should just be doing things for its production. Mm-hmm. We should be adhering to the basic natural law, teleology, and function. We should be adhering to holy days of obligation. And actually producing things, not staring at a fucking computer screen.
Oh man! So I work 11-hour shifts. I do get 3-day weekends, which is rare now.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But like, so I start work at 7:30 a.m.
Yeah.
And then by 3 p.m., I'm like, I am going to hurt myself if I have to look at the screen anymore.
Yes, yeah.
So after like 4 p.m, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll like vacuum stuff, or like I'll find anything else to do besides be on this.
Right. Yeah.
I can't, cause what I've worked on a train cooking. I've worked in the Lucky Wishbone. I've managed cafes. I've done all of this. I've worked at the camera store. You're not staring at screens there.
Yes.
But like I started at the previous place almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And now I'm at this place, and I like socially wildly prefer it. I love everybody.
Yeah.
But I can't look at screens that long.
Yes. Yeah.
It is I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
Imagine your vision starts to unfocus. You can't focus on anything, and somebody's doing this to your eyes.
Yes. Yeah.
Like kind of pushing your eyes, and you get a little bit of a black spot,
Mm-hmm.
and you start to go cross-eyed. I'm like, if I look at it anymore, I start to get this like
Yes. Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna damage my body if I keep
Yeah.
looking at that.
No, it's horrible.
I'm trying to. And people are like, "Oh, what's your dream job?" I'm like, I don't know, pressing olives into oil
Yes.
all the time, making beer,
Making shit. That's what, yeah. It's like producing something.
because that's the thing. Is, on Twitter, I have never ever gotten as much engagement as I have food posting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll
especially
spend
positive engagement. Yeah.
hours.
Yep. On your
Like
nice
when-
days
like-
off.
Yeah, you saw that like falafel post I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
And I just, I'm like, pop it up. I have my kitchen window's north facing.
Okay. Yeah.
And I have a little bamboo board that I put the stuff on, and I just take pictures, and I spend,
Yeah.
I like 6-7 hours doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And I walk away, and I don't make any money, obviously.
Yes. Yeah.
But I'm like, I make this food, and I just labor over it
Yeah.
all day, and I take pictures of it, and like 60-70 people on Twitter are like
Yeah.
really fired up about it. And I'm like, that meant more to me than the last 5 years of work.
Yes. Yeah.
Like just that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just producing something.
And I'm like, if I could just do anything at all, if it's so like, I don't have kids or wife or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it doesn't, I don't have financial needs really.
Yes. Yeah.
If I could just cook for people and they just eat it, like I don't want to run a restaurant. I don't even mean that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like if I can just spend all day cooking
Yeah. Yeah.
and feed a room full of people,
Yes.
I can walk away and feel spectacular
Yes.
all the time.
Yeah.
Because I used to host dinner parties, especially when the Japanese people were
Right.
here.
Yeah.
I'd have like
a
a dozen Japanese people at the house, and I just
Yeah.
like labor all day on food, and I just blow my load over 2 hours at a dinner party. I'm
Yeah.
like this is life matters right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or whatever. Like I used to have I'd make guitar pedals, and I would just labor over it
Yeah.
for hours, and I'd just sell them.
Yeah.
People, like, oh, this is badass. I'm like, okay, I matter.
Yes, yeah.
This is all it takes for me to feel like I have a place in the community.
Yeah.
That's why those like Wild Scoops, the ice cream place,
Yeah.
or whatever tiny like all the breweries in town, like those places are so popular
Mm-hmm.
because you walk in
Yes.
and that guy made what you're
exactly
drinking or
Yeah.
eating or snacking on or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like people yearn for that.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that the West Coast especially understands that.
Yeah.
West Coast, like the West Coast of the US is the land of microbreweries. Like it's like just the thing.
Yes. Yeah.
We're really, really into tiny little like leather goods makers and stuff, which is
Yeah.
really LARPy because as far as necessity is concerned,
Right.
you can get everything at Fred Meyer.
Exactly,
Or
I know, yeah.
Walmart or whatever.
Yeah.
Like these are not necessities anymore. So it is a little bit of a LARP,
Yeah, a lot of it, but yeah.
but still, they're
it's-
like,
but-
it's
but-
oriented towards something proper.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That used to be necessary. If you
Yeah.
wanted a wallet or whatever,
Right. Yeah.
you had to go to that guy in
Yeah.
town.
And that's what I mean. I think in the end, what it is, it's a rejection of this contemporary world.
It can't last. It's unsustainable.
Yes, because in the end of the day, that it is because the contemporary world is a rejection of humanity, and I think humanity right now is beginning, and hopefully it continues. Because I would say in the 70s was a huge movement to become more human again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most of the counterculture, the idea of like living in communes and all that stuff was almost an embracement of humanity.
There was a proper intuition.
There was, yeah.
Wildly misdirected.
Yes, yeah. And sometimes I feel like that's what's happening now because we're paying too much attention to the accidents and not the essentials. It was like
social media is accidental interaction.
Yes,
we've talked about it before.
It is,
like, that's not interaction at all.
It isn't. Yes, yeah, and so like when we begin to do that, it's like it fizzles, and I think every movement fizzles. Like the whole lumbersexual thing fizzled.
Yeah,
and the reason why it fizzled is because they looked at the accidents of what it meant to be like a lumberjack and what it meant to do this. And so they dressed the part.
Hipster thing.
Yes. And they were doing everything and they want to, have all this little community thing, but it always goes away because it's not actually tackling the problem. The problem is the technology. If you actually do want to have actual microbreweries that help people, that you want to have leather makers that help people, is that you got to fucking blow up Fred Meyer. You got to destroy Walmart. You got to destroy all of this.
It's Uncle Ted moment. Yeah.
Yes, it's like you have to.
Correct.
Yes, and the end of the day, all these movements will always just go away, and that's almost like the heartbreak moment. It's like you see that their intentions was there. You could see why so many people long like for the counterculture thing is because you saw the intention was good. But they didn't go far enough. Yeah. It was like, no, what you need to do is that you really want to, you really want it to matter. You want your leather shoes that you've made matter. You have to annihilate all of these things. It has to be destroyed. You have to, Fred Meyer gone, Walmart gone, all these shoes being made in China gone. Just nothing. You got nothing. Now start doing it. Now start making it. And
it's
now
like you are the dude that bakes the bread.
Yes. Now it matters.
Yeah.
And
because working Mr. Patriarch on a stream, and I don't want to cross-pollinate too much, and we won't be. I don't remember if it was him or Northern Man, which is really funny because I think he had Lincolnshire accent. He had an extremely Northern English accent the whole time.
Yeah.
One of them provided this example of a girl in a small English town, one of the dying small town England.
Right, yeah.
She had incredible academic promise, but she wanted to stay in town and just run the post office. That was what she wanted to do.
Yeah.
And she was castigated for it, and no one understood why on earth she would want to stay home and just run something instead of going off to a major city for a degree or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that if anybody wants, so when people talk about like, oh, you just, localism and you just take part in your community and okay, which supermarket chain do you want to work at?
Yes, exactly.
Like there's no reason for you to do anything else.
Yep.
There is no need for you to provide any service beyond a trade that services homes.
Yes.
Or working at a grocery store.
Yeah.
Or the post office or whatever arm of the mega corporation you want to work for.
Yes, yeah.
That's all there is.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's why small towns are dying is it's like, do you want to be mega corporation store clerk guy?
Yeah.
Or do you want to move to a city and live where you can have sex?
Yep.
where the orgies are, or whatever.
Yeah. No, really, the only solution that if we want to do it really is the complete destruction of them.
And it will be.
Yeah, I think corporations have far too much power.
Yeah,
it's not just the social media corporations; it's every corporation. It's too much power.
Yeah,
they run the world. When when like conspiracy theories talk about a shadow government, whatever, there's no shadow government. They're just corporations.
Yeah.
They tell people what to do. They have the money.
The World Economic Forum is just corporations.
It's just corporations, Yeah, they do meet in these places and they don't let anybody in. Yeah, all those things are true.
Why would you let people into your meetings?
But it's because they're the ones with the fucking power. And they control everything and you're just puppets to them and you're not human to them. You're just more resources that they could use.
Yeah, you're a number on a spreadsheet.
Yep. And so, people really do want to make a difference.
What's interesting is I know when we worked at Stewart's, that was 5 people?
Yes. Yeah.
total.
Yep.
You're still a number on a spreadsheet
Yeah.
with 5 people.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you sell. It doesn't matter how much the customers like you. It doesn't matter how much you do around the store.
Yeah.
You're a number on a spreadsheet.
Because it's the mentality. It's all of that. It's like, no, we're fucked. We want things to change. First, get rid of the corporations.
Africa's not like this.
Yeah, I know. Many of the Mohammedan countries are.
Mohammedan countries are not like that. Eastern Europe's not like that.
Exactly.
The small, so like, like Eastern European markets in town.
Yeah.
All stores are like that in Eastern Europe.
Yes, yeah. I know. Even many of them are Western Europe.
Yeah,
I mean, there were a few.
Tiny Italy?
Yes. You go to most small towns. I mean, if you go to some of the bigger cities, obviously you can find more of the larger chains like Carrefour and
so this
everything.
is specifically American.
Yeah.
And Chinese.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Japanese, I'm assuming too.
No, Japan is the land of cottage industry now.
Still?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
It will never.
Because I know they have pretty high suicide rates with their labor and everything, though.
Yes, school students and stuff.
Yeah.
It's young. Youth suicide is insane.
Yeah.
But they're like the land of. There's like a couple 600-year-old soy sauce makers per town. It seems like.
Yeah.
Like they're the ones.
How about South Korea?
No, South Korea's done.
They're pretty fucked. Yeah.
Oh yeah. They're literally whatever, like everything you know about North Korea and the way that they're fucked.
Yeah.
South Korea's fucked in the exact opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
The Korean Peninsula is destroyed.
Yeah.
A horrible place to be. But like, no, Japan somehow has maintained their.
There's something weird about their culture.
No, yes, but if
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just a godlessness.
No, I think it's their culture as Japan's like.
Yeah.
I would be willing to say that Japan is the least ideologically suited country for modernism on earth.
Really?
Yes, because Japan is incapable of doing anything besides what they've always done in a way that is entirely unique to them. Like when you talk about like Orthodox guys or
yeah.
Japan is the most traditionalistic country on earth.
Right. Yeah.
By a long shot. It is.
But they do have large cities.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they have somehow, like if you like here, let me look it up. List of world's oldest businesses. List of world's oldest businesses. List of companies. Oldest companies. Like if you look at this. So here's my list. Japan.
Yeah.
Like all of the oldest companies in the world are Japanese.
Yeah.
They're
no, I guess like, I'm not disputing that, but I think
they are killing themselves.
They're very modernized, though. That's what I mean.
Yes, but they're not ideologically modernized at all.
Yeah,
they're not.
So what's causing?
They are really, really good at emulating what other people are doing for success.
Yeah.
Like they were a feudal system until 1868.
Yeah.
Like 1868, they were a full-fledged feudal country.
Yeah.
They were not unified until then. Like that's 100. What would that be? 150, like 150 years ago.
Yeah.
They were a full-fledged feudal economy. Like full on Europe in 1200 AD feudal.
Yeah. But I guess my question still would be like, why the high depression? Why the high suicide? Why the same symptoms that I would say that?
Well, suicide's also viewed as honorable.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, in terms of the issues that the West has, I know the two Eastern nations that normally is correlated with the Western world is Korea and Japan.
And Taiwan.
And Taiwan, yeah. They're like the most westernized nations in the East.
And the
those
reason
same
I think
places have the same issues that the West has.
but worse.
Yes, but worse.
And I think it's because Japan specifically is so ill-equipped to handle it.
Yeah.
They can't modernize.
Yeah.
Japan could still be feudal now, and it would be fine. It would function.
And maybe they'll be happier.
Yes, easily. And in the same way that everybody would be.
Yes,
but they're like literally Japan right now could revert to a feudal system.
Yeah.
And there would be zero strife about it.
Yeah.
On a long-term basis, it would just be fine.
Yeah.
It's still a feudal mindset because it happened like 100 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
They didn't socially transform.
Yeah, because I'm not trying to dispute what you're saying. I'm just saying that there still seems to be a similar, like almost demonic possession of depression, anxiety, and suicidality in westernized Eastern countries,
because they're the most godless places on earth.
The same way in the West it is.
No, way worse.
I mean, I shouldn't say.
Yes.
I know
it's to a different degree.
Yeah, but different degree. Yeah, which I would say that places like in Eastern Europe, I don't really see that. They might be
because they're very stubborn and they haven't.
But they're stubborn. Yes, yeah. But I know the Western world in general is kind of fucked.
Yes, but Eastern Asia is way worse.
Yes, yeah.
And I don't think there's kind of an accidental quality to it. I don't. They modernized way faster than anybody else has.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Japan, I think, was the last country on earth that's modern to modernize.
Yeah.
And it was they're so good because all Japan does is do exactly what they've always done forever and look outside to successful countries and try to emulate what they're doing and fail at it all the time, constantly. That's all. That's their entire history for the last 1,500 years has been trying to emulate what another country's doing, failing at it because they can't do anything but be Japanese. And that's what happened is like within 5-10 years of unifying the country and deciding and forming a parliament and dressing in suits happened in like 5 years.
Yeah, just basically feudal. After World War II and after we helped them build, right?
It's 1868.
Oh, so was it? Okay.
Yes. So it's 1868. I'm trying to remember which country it was. So it's 1868. It was in Kyoto. The samurai class in I don't remember what daimyo which feudal lords in Kyushu. You know that what's his name? What's the Last Samurai? The Tom Cruise movie?
Oh yeah.
Saigo Takamori.
The actor?
No. The guy he was playing.
Oh, I don't remember.
Let me look it up. I want really quick. The Last Samurai was. Is it Saigo Takamori? Saigo Takamori. Yeah, Saigo. I actually have a book about it. You would really find it badass because he was the last. He's essentially the last warring samurai from I don't remember what.
Well, I'm reading here that Japan, the Japanese also didn't work that many hours during the feudal system.
No, but it
was almost the same as in the West, only about 150 days
but this happened in 1868 immediately within 5-10 years.
Yeah.
And they looked to Germany with whom they signed a pact and they really quickly emulated.
Yes, so they tried to also emulate the American work hour for 40 hours a week.
Yes. So they just were like, okay, we're a feudal system. Everybody's modernizing. What accidental qualities do we adopt from these other people?
Yeah.
So their military was based on the Germans off of, what's his name? Bismarck's Germany.
Yeah.
And then they were like, okay, all these other we want to modernize. How do we modernize? Okay, all modern countries have empire.
Yeah.
Let's have an empire. And they're really, really good at emulating accidental qualities of other places.
Yeah.
So they immediately started expanding rapidly. around the Pacific. So like their empire was an ununified Japan to the entire Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
China, Taiwan, Thailand, Vietnam, in like 40 years.
Yeah, yeah.
From being feudal and ununified. Extremely efficient people.
Yeah.
But they just Japan, like I think they were isolated for, because Edo period ended, it was like 1500. They were isolated for like 500 years. They had an isolationist policy for the whole island.
Yeah.
For the whole thing. They didn't interact with the outside world for hundreds of years. And like, they just should do that again for the Japanese people. They just shouldn't do anything but be themselves.
Yeah.
Or they'll kill themselves because like, in which they're doing. I really don't think that Eastern Asia and the West are meant to interact that much. I just don't think it works.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be many articles that give certain reasons why.
Yeah.
But
they do have extremely high expectations.
Right. But it seems like what their main what many are contributing to their depression and suicide is trying to work 40 hours a week.
It's too many.
And it's really just like that same, it seems like to be the same reason. It's
considered a virtue to fall asleep at work in Japan.
Yes, yeah. They take it to the extreme.
Yeah, literally, it's like, wow, he's working so hard he fell asleep.
Yes, yeah.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
That is pathological.
So basically adopting that Western.
But the thing about the Japanese is they are really, really good at distilling the essence of the thing they're emulating.
Yeah.
So like, they're like, okay, a 40-hour work week is, they understand that it's time committed. It's not output, it's time.
Yeah.
All right. It's a virtue to fall asleep at work because you've worked so much. Like they are like we started inventing computers and TVs and cars and stuff. They're like, okay, that's what people want. It's perfect now. We own the market.
Yes, yeah.
They're really, really good at emulating.
Yeah.
And I think that has to do with their like really hyper heightened aesthetic sensibilities.
Yeah.
Japan is like the last bastion of cultural aesthetic sensibility on a wide scale. Like they have some of the best understanding of beauty as a transcendental.
Oh, right. Yeah. Still.
That's why anime is such a big thing, because it's one of the last truly beautiful art forms.
Mm-hmm. Even though a lot of it now is being computerized.
Yes. I mean, up to like 2013, 14, 15.
Yes. Yeah. It's unfortunate. I just, I don't know.
That's what I think weebs, like weeaboos, were the like uneducated, unemployed class gravitated towards anime so much because it was like a truly beautiful medium.
Yeah, yeah.
An with archetypal narrative.
Right,
that
yeah.
didn't exist in the West anymore,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it just goes back to what we're talking about with some people gravitated towards music. I think some people gravitated towards the anime because they knew it was hand-drawn.
Yeah.
And they knew it like a person did it. And it
like Hayao Miyazaki still, he's like 90 years old and still.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, I bought Joe and I tickets to see Castle in the Sky in theaters in July.
Oh really? What's that?
Castle in the Sky?
Yeah.
It's one of the best Ghibli movies, Studio Ghibli.
Oh, is it?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How many of those have you seen?
Not many.
It is truly one of, I do this a lot. This is my.
Yeah.
Yours is.
I start talking about
you like this.
In the podcast, I don't do too much, but
no,
in
you
person,
used to way more.
Yeah.
But yours is this thing.
Yeah.
You do like a rotating hand thing. Mine is this.
Yeah.
I don't know. Trump's just like. At least he doesn't do the elevator push.
Yeah. The Clinton.
But Studio Ghibli. And I'm going to sound like a weeb for it maybe, but I think people who know, it's like an if you know, you know thing.
Yeah.
They are one of they're like the shining example in the world of the Japanese unbastardized sense of aesthetics.
Okay, yeah.
Like every single film is just mind-blowingly well crafted.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I think I've seen Spirited Away in theaters like 3 or 4 times.
Oh, really?
Have you seen that?
No, I've never seen that one.
Which, have you seen any of them? Because that would shock me.
The Totoro one.
That one's fine.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good looking. It's good, but it's just kind of a.
I've seen parts.
It's like a motif vignette kind of thing.
I've seen parts of Spirited Away, but
Spirited Away is like
I never sat through those things.
Such a spectacular movie.
Yeah. I think those are the only 2 that I know of, and those are the only 2 that
I own literally every movie they've put out on.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How many do they produce?
Probably 30.
30 movies. Shit, really?
So their earliest. So I think Castle in the Sky was put out in 1988.
Okay.
Porco Rosso, you would love.
Yeah.
I have a copy of that. I should lend you that. I don't know where you can watch it online.
Okay.
So Porco Rosso, who I think Bulge, friend of the podcast, Bulgakov's behemoth, Louise of Austro-Thomism. I think he said that Porco Rosso is his favorite movie of all time.
Really? What's the narrative?
It's a it's between, I think it's the 1920s. It's the rise of fascism.
Okay.
In Italy. And if I think that it takes place mostly in Croatia, like the kind of the Italian part of Croatia with the crazy rock cliff beaches and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Milan and back. It's an First World War seaplane pilot, because that was a big deal in the teens, the 20s, and the 30s with seaplanes in that area of the world. Like there were a bunch of Italian and Greek seaplane manufacturers. It's him, and he's been cursed to look like a pig. So he's like it's Porco, red pig. Kurenai Buta is the name in Japanese, the crimson pig.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But he's this fat, hedonistic, lazy, self-indulgent pig with he's got a little Italy mustache, a little like a Mario mustache.
Yeah.
And little tiny sunglasses that he wears the whole time.
Yeah.
But it's him, and he's just it opens with the rescue of a group of dumb little girls from a cruise ship that were kidnapped by the Mama Ayudo gang, which was like a seaplane gang.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so he rescues all these girls, and it's him. You know, he's like, he doesn't want to do anything because he's so self-indulgent, but he has a sense of right and wrong, and he's like, ugh, I guess I have to go rescue these girls.
Yeah.
And he's in love with this girl. What's her name? I feel like such an idiot that I can't remember her name. Gia.
Okay.
I think it's Gia. Gina. There we go. I almost sound like an idiot. She's a lounge singer at a bar, a little like seaplane bar. It's built on a rock in the middle of the Adriatic. Off of the coast of Italy. And but it's essentially him. He goes to get his plane fixed in Milan, and his like hardcore masculine weirdo repair guy has this, I think it's his niece. She's this firebrand woman who like wants to be a pilot, and like, you know, she's like a tomboy of the of the 1920s, who wants to be a pilot, and he's getting there's a scene where they're all fixing the plane. Yeah. And there's a bunch of nuns that walk in, and he like says something to them, and they make a joke about gambling money or something. Like it's a really Catholic thing for a Japanese person to have made. Yeah. But this like 18, 19, 20-year-old girl like is like, he has to go show up a pilot from France in like a dog fight, and she wants to go, so he like begrudgingly accepts the company of this woman, and then she's slighted by the pilot, and then he he fights for the honor of this young, beautiful woman.
Oh, okay.
For the honor of the woman that he's in love with, and also the honor of this young woman.
Yeah.
And like, it's so good. I really think you'd like it.
Yeah,
it's aesthetically, it's a total. Every single Ghibli movie is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And they're all hand drawn. It's.
Do you like it more for the aesthetics than the actual stories? Or?
No, that story is pretty spectacular. The stories are as good as the aesthetics.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because Spirited Away is to me probably one of the best 5 film narratives ever written.
Yeah.
Like really, really spectacular.
Yeah.
Castle in the Sky is a spectacular narrative. Spectacular visuals.
Yeah.
But no, I they're doing a series where they play these movies like once a month.
Which theater?
They're doing it at Takotnu and Century 16.
Oh, really?
But I bought them for Century 16 because I think it's a better theater.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so interesting to me that you're like a film guy and you enjoy them a lot, but you haven't seen any of the. And you're not an anime not fan. You're not.
Right, I just haven't seen that many animes. The only animes I've recently said was Cowboy Bebop
And Trigun.
Which
are 2 of like the 10 best anime ever made.
Yeah, I love those ones. Akira. And
so you were like a 90s anime
Ghost in
watcher.
the Shell, yeah.
Yeah, you were a 90s. I mean, you've seen most of the best anime.
Yeah. Those ones I just really enjoyed.
Yeah. I really want to get you to. So I have memberships to places where you could actually watch Death Note if I gave you the login.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I wonder if I start you on Death Note.
Yeah.
And give you as long as you need to watch it.
Yeah.
And then we cover it.
If I watch it like during editing and stuff.
No, I know.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. It's like if I gave you
yeah.
a place to watch it.
Yeah.
If we don't like announce like we're gonna cover it this time, but if I just give you the place to watch it, and then you just kind of watch it at your own time, and then kind of go, oh, I've watched it, and I'm like, all right, let's do an episode. Would you want to cover it?
Sure. Yeah. If you think it's worth covering. Yeah.
It's so good. No man can be God.
Yeah.
It'd be similar to our whale review, but much darker and more action.
No, that would be good. It's action packed?
It's dramatic.
That's good.
Very, very dramatic.
Yeah.
It's like overly dramatic. It's very, very it can be hammy sometimes, but oh my God.
A lot of Japanese things are pretty hammy though.
Yeah, but they're hammy for a reason. They have a point to make.
Yeah. That's good.
That's really why I think young people gravitate towards anime. That's like Dragon Ball Z is the Bible for black guys now. Like it's like because it provides an archetypal narrative.
It does, yeah.
For overcoming yourself.
Yeah.
And like
Vegeta was my favorite.
Yeah, and it's like I'm not that big of a fan of it.
Yeah.
I think it's just not my jam. But
it's a kid's cartoon.
Yeah, but it's like meaty.
Yes, yeah.
It's not like super highbrow, obviously.
Yeah.
Like Naruto is quite a bit more highbrow.
Is it? Yeah.
Than Dragon Ball Z is, but it's a similar there's a reason that young minority men without dads gravitate towards those long a One Piece, Naruto, Bleach.
Yeah.
Like epic long narrative. It's like if no one told you to read the Bible.
I've never seen One Piece.
One Piece is the most popular anime in Japan, I think.
Is it really?
Every Japanese man I've ever asked to provide a favorite anime, it's always One Piece.
More than Dragon Ball? Mm-hmm. More than Pocket Monsters?
Yes. It's always One Piece.
Yeah.
Which is a really, really good and well done show.
Yeah.
But it's also 1,000 episodes long. Yes. If you didn't start watching One Piece a while ago, it's not worth it.
How many? And it's a continuous narrative?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's Luffy.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did they start it? In the 90s?
Mid-90s, yeah.
And they're still making new episodes? Seriously?
It's an empire. Yeah, you can't stop making One Piece.
I did not know this.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's the anime.
First time I heard it was just on Twitter where one of our listeners posted something about it.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah. This is the first time I ever heard about One Piece.
I'm trying to think of all the best anime I've ever watched.
Yeah.
Cowboy Bebop is awesome. Have you watched it all the way through?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the scene. Oh my god.
I have the DVD collection.
So, spoiler alert, I don't know if people don't. If you haven't seen Cowboy Bebop yet, it's been like 30 years.
Yeah.
So, but the episode, where he kills Vicious and he walks down the stairs to the police.
Oh,
and he
yeah,
goes,
yeah.
Bang, and then he just dies. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I think that was the first, like, this is what a man is moment that I ever had. Was like, look, everything about Cowboy Bebop is a masterpiece.
Oh yeah, I love
it has the best anime score ever composed, ever.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Trigun is one of the best
those
ever.
Were good times. Yeah.
Full Metal Alchemist is extremely good. I don't know if you probably haven't ever. That one's like 60 something episodes from.
I watched some of them. I really liked it. I didn't have the DVD collection for that.
Yeah.
So I only caught it whenever it was on.
I'll give you my anime login. I have a login for all the like Crunchyroll and Funimation and stuff.
Yeah, because they had it on Adult Swim, and that's where I caught the episodes.
It's so good.
Yeah. But then I missed too many, so when I started watching it again, I was like, I missed an entire season. Like, not entire season, but like entire 10, 15 episodes.
I want Amanda to watch Fruits Basket.
Fruits
Basket is it's a shoujo anime. So the two major would be shonen and shoujo. Shonen would be young boys, so that would be like a Naruto, a One Piece, a Dragon Ball Z, like a show for young boys.
Oh, okay.
And then shoujo is like a romance,
yeah, for
girls kind of thing. Obviously, anyone can enjoy them, but it's like that's their target demographic.
Yeah,
and it's just about. It's about feminine sacrifice for loved ones.
Yeah.
And it's beyond spectacular.
Oh,
it's
really?
just it's literally kind of it's like a Marion figure.
Yeah.
Just sacrificing herself for everyone around her all the time.
Yeah.
And in a really spectacular, well done way.
Yeah.
Trying to think of other, like if I ever had to we did like an anime series, that'd be. You good?
Oh yeah, I just didn't notice we had so much comments on.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Do we need to? Are there any worth engaging? Let me go grab
Joshua
this.
Ham was on there. I think he's probably gone now.
Guest of the podcast. We've had all of our friends on the show.
Yeah.
Let me look at the live chat real quick. Oh my god! Holy, who are these people? It's a Poland. It's a Pole. To jest polski kanał. Dla kogo? Dude, who is this Polish guy? Okay, I don't know. So are we killing the show to be reading all this? Is so much. Dude, who is JC?
I still don't know.
Yu Yu Hakusho is the best anime. I don't know. It's not bad. It doesn't speak to me. The long serial shows don't do much for me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Anohana, I'm trying to think of all the saddest animes to me of all time.
Saddest?
there is truly I have not seen anything more just gut-wrenchingly sad than the sad anime I've seen.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh my god.
Remember that one episode in Cowboy Bebop with the blind?
Oh yeah.
That was a sad episode.
Oh my god.
That was intense.
Cowboy Bebop is brutal.
Yeah.
It is emotionally brutal.
So whenever they had an episode like that wasn't part of like the narrative per se, but you could still tie it together, but it's like an offshoot. Those episodes were Trigun did the same thing. Sometimes they just had an episode there that it kind of took a break with the overarching narrative. But that episode was always like the most sentimental and the most like sad one that they produced. which is good.
Anohana is about a group. I think they were in high school of high school students that were like a little group of friends when they were like, 4 or 5, 6 years old in the neighborhood. And then there was they were like 6, I think it was 6 of them. Yeah. We're just like little kid best friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Menma is a girl who there was an accident and she fell off the bridge and she drowned and died.
Yeah.
At like 5 or 6 or something. And then as a result of that, all the kids were emotionally traumatized forever and drifted apart over time. And then, but the ghost of this girl appears to the main character, the main friend.
Yeah.
And she's like, I need you to do a thing so I can pass on. And so all of these friends get back together and like accomplish a goal together so that she can pass on.
Yeah.
But at the end, she writes them all letters, like goodbye letters as she passes on to heaven, and they read them out loud. And it is such a weep fest.
Is it? Yeah.
Like this little 5-year-old girl is, the last letter is that he fell in love with this 5-year-old girl that never grew into a woman.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly what it was, but she was like, I love you like a wife. And then she like passes on to heaven.
Oh, wow.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It was crushing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
nice.
Yeah. There's something about like sad anime and sad Japanese music.
Yeah.
Is unbearable. Yes, there's something about the Japanese that they communicate grief better than any other artistic tradition on earth.
Yeah.
I don't know if
it's extremely sappy, and I think that I have met people that do not get moved by it at all. Like they laugh hysterically at how.
And then I personally am like offended. I'm like, how can you laugh at this?
Yeah. Like many times, like I didn't want to show some people because like I find it emotional, but they just start laughing.
Oh, I know who to not show this stuff. Like, you're just a psychopath.
Yeah. No, yeah. There's some people that don't feel whatever they're trying to evoke, but yeah, I think that's what it is. That it's just very dramatic. And
which to me, that like I eat that up.
Yes, yeah.
Like another movie I really would like you to watch if I can find a place to watch it is Departures.
Departures, okay.
I think I must have talked about it a while ago.
Probably.
It's Okuribito in is the Japanese title, but
yeah.
The composer for the movie is the composer for all the Ghibli movies, so like the music is good.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's one of the things they're known for is how spectacular their music is.
Oh, okay.
But it's about the guy. I must have told you there's the guy who plays cello in the orchestra. His orchestra folds. He moves back to where his father is from. His father left a house, or his mother left his father's house for him. I think was what it was. And he and his wife moved there because he's like, has a crisis of like, I've been in this orchestra forever and it folds and I don't know what to do if I'm not playing music. So he goes and they move back to this small town in their little tiny Japanese puny town. And he finds a job listing for Departures for Deppatsu, I think is I can think of the kanji for it, but I think it's Happatsu. Happatsu is the word in Japanese for it, but Happatsu I think is what it is. But if it's not, whatever. I didn't actually get the degree. But he finds out that Departures was a euphemism for like death departure.
Yeah,
like departing this world.
Yeah,
so he becomes an undertaker. And like in Japan, being an undertaker, like touching bodies was extremely taboo for a long time. So it's about him learning to prepare bodies.
Oh, okay.
And there's this whole dramatic arc where there's the old lady who ran the bathhouse dies, and it turns out that she was like old as dirt, and then the guy that worked the crematorium was old as dirt.
Oh, okay.
But they were like, special friends.
Yeah.
They were like in love in the way that old people would be in love with each other.
Yeah.
And then he has to cremate her body.
Mm.
Like he gives this whole speech about how death is just
Yeah.
isn't death, but it's the doorway to the next life and all that. It is like hyper dramatic, but it is so good.
Yeah.
Like I actually watched it with a group of Japanese people, and like listening to Japanese people cry out loud is funny. They're so loud when they cry because they're so emotionally reserved.
Yeah.
But once you like get them over the line, it's explosive. They're like, why are we watching this?
Yeah.
Well, I guess why Japanese people Japanese media touches people to the degree that it does is because it communicates so effectively.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really would like to cover Death Note at some point, just because it's my number one. It's like one of my 5 favorite pieces of media ever made.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Like it is. I watch it like once every year and a half, and every single time I'm like, this is some of the greatest narrative masterpiece of the modern era. Like it is so good.
Wow. Yeah. No, yeah.
I really think you'd.
Yeah. But you said it's not on Amazonia.
You might have to buy it, kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll see if it's on my. I'll see if because the dub is pretty good. It's during the Funimation golden era where all of their English dubs were really good.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'll see if where I get it has the English, so that you can actually watch it and do something else instead of just read it.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Which seems like kind of a prerequisite.
Yes. I don't understand Japanese. Japonese.
Nihongo. Nihongo wa keneyo. Anyway, are we good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
We got over 2 hours.
Yeah.
All right. Well, JC, somehow 8 people are still watching.
Yes.
I don't know who these people are. I feel like our audience has been growing a little bit, and I'm like weirded out. I'm like, wow, not one person is watching this. Anyway.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll be here now. I will mention that I forgot to say it earlier, but next week I'll put a message out on the Patreon as well. But for our Patreon subscribers, we are doing a question and answer session.
Yes.
So next week we'll probably do like 45 minutes an hour maybe on the main feed.
Yeah.
And then after that we're gonna cut to Patreon only upload.
Yeah, it's going to be Good Friday next week. So
yeah, so I think it'll be a pretty good deal. I've got a pretty meaty group of questions lined up.
Yeah.
That you'll only be able to listen to on Patreon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so April 7th question and answer. It's going to have to be Friday because the Easter Vigil's on Saturday night.
Oh, I know.
I'll be baptized. I'll be baptized the day after we record this question and answer.
Yes, I know. It's going to be
so
good.
It's going to be a big thing.
We might have to do it like Thursday.
Whatever you got to do is.
No, I'm just thinking that, man, because how early do we have to be up for? Well, anyways, we can talk about it afterwards.
We're going to do what we have to do for the listeners and for God.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
But yeah, Patreon only question and answer. Q&A session on Friday. Probably go out Sunday.
Yeah.
Regardless, if you're not a Patreon subscriber, you can't ask questions and you can't hear a word. So
yep.
Feel free to subscribe, and we will talk to you later.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.